Alright guys, so here's your review for your Chapter 3 mid-test. Oh, let me erase all these things real fast. Hold on one second. Alright, that was from earlier. So, for these ones, we are having to identify the terms, coefficients, and constants. Now, we didn't really talk a whole bunch about terms in class, but for your test, you're going to need to know what that is. So I'll make sure to explain that one to you. First, let's start with our coefficients and our constants, though. So our coefficient for 5c squared plus 7d, remember our coefficient, that's just the number in front of our variables. We have 2, we have 7, and we have 5. And 5. Our constants, that's just a regular number on its own without a variable attached to it. We don't have any. And now for our terms. Now terms, they're basically coefficients and variables stuck together with each other, or it can be a constant, but the main key is that they're usually separated with either a plus or minus sign. So I have two terms here. My first one is 5c squared. My second one is 7d. Let's do the same thing over here. My coefficients, 9, that's in front of the g, and then I have a 1 in front of this g, but I don't need to write that because it's just 1. Now for my constants, I do have a constant here. My number by itself is 12. Terms, I'm going to have 3 terms. If you look up here, I have there, and they are all separated by this plus sign. So my terms are going to be G and 12 and 9G. All right. Now let me erase these ones too, because I actually messed up the first time I did this. All right, so here, let's see, our coefficients are going to be 2. And then, actually, I have 2 coefficients that are both 2 because I have this 2 in front of my m squared and 2 in front of p squared. My, let's see, let's do constants here are going to be 15 because that's the number that's on its own. And then my terms, again, they are separated by a plus sign. There we go. I have 3 of them. I have 2m squared and 15 and 2p squared. Over here, my coefficients, I have a 1 in front of this n squared, but I don't need to put that. So I'm just going to say 1/2. Constants are going to be 6. That's my number on its own. And then my terms, I again have 3. That's my 2 plus signs. Terms are 6 and n squared and 1/2d. All right. Here we are finding what is wrong with this problem here. So constants, I would agree with that. We don't have any constants. There are no numbers just on their own if you look over here. Coefficients, we have 1 coefficient. It's in front of our variables. It's a 2. Our terms, they said are 2x squared and y. That part's incorrect. The reason why that part's incorrect is because remember that terms are separated by a plus or minus. In here, I just have a bunch of multiplication because they're squished together. So I have 2 times x squared times y. I don't have a plus or a minus. So my terms, I actually only have 1. Oh, I don't know what I did there. Let me try to fix that real quick. Oh. Almost. All right, there we go. I got it. So we actually only have 1 term, and my term would be 2x squared y, since nothing's separated. All right, that's my term. All right, moving on. Now the second part of this stuff, we are going to write each expression as exponents. So remember, if I have 4 w's, just like if I had 4 6's, we know that 4 6's is 6 to the 4th. So 4 w's, that's w the 4th, and then I just tack on my coefficient in front, so I have 8w to the 4th because I have 4 w's. Over here, I have 2 a's, that's going to be a squared, and then I have 2 c's, that's c squared. You multiply them by each other, or you can just sandwich them like I did here. I would accept both of these answers, but basically we have a squared, c squared, because we have 2 of each. All right, down here we are going to evaluate the expression when when actually all these things are true up here. So remember, whenever you are, and this is called substituting, whenever you're substituting something in, you need these parentheses. I'm actually going to count off if you don't have them. And the reason why is because when you start multiplying, it is going to help you a lot. So you need to plug in parentheses for the C. You have 12 plus 5, that's 17. 17 is your final answer there. You only need 2 lines of work. For this next one, we have C divided by A. So C is 12 over A, which is 3, both inside parentheses. And then your next step, we always work down. We don't work to the side. So down, 12 divided by 3 is 4. So our answer would be 4. For these ones, it says copy and complete the table. So we have an expression down here. Our expression is x times 8. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug each of my x values into that expression. So my first one would be 3 times 8, which is 24. And then I also have 6 times 8, which is 48. And then I have 9 times 8, 72. Okay, so we just basically are plugging in our x values in our expression down here. Moving on to the next one, write the phrase as an expression, the difference of a number and 12. So here, the word that tells me what to do is this difference. That means subtract. So I know I'm going to have to subtract. Now, subtracting is the toughest one to deal with because you have to make sure it's in the right order. Remember, order matters for both subtraction and division. So when it says the difference, you just put a subtraction sign, and then whatever comes first in the sentence, you put first. Whatever comes second, you put second. So that is 12 minus x. Here we have 13 more than the product 10 and a number z. So I actually have two things. I have more than, which tells me to add, product, tells me to multiply. So I know I have 13 more than the product. Order doesn't matter for both of these, so I just need to make sure I put together what belongs together. So it says 13 more, so I'm going to put 13 plus the product of 10 and a number z. So that's 10 times z. Another way to write that is 13 plus 10z. This is how you, oops, did not mean to do that. Let me rewrite real fast. This is 13 plus z. And then this is how you actually see it more often. So this is probably what the best answer would be. You also could have flipped this and said 10z plus 13. For our next one, 10 less than the quotient. So we have less than and we have quotient. Subtraction, quotient is division. So it says 10 less than the quotient. I know that whenever it says less than, pretend like I said 10 less than 15. We know that 10 less than 15 is 5, but you had to put the 10 on the back end in order to get that answer. So we're going to put 10 on the back end here. And then we have the quotient of c and 7, so that's division. So I'd have c divided by 7 minus 10. That would be my final answer. Give two ways to write the expression, 5c minus 7. So on the last one, we said that when this is back here, we know that this is less than. So I'm going to start with 7 less than, and then 5c, that's 5 times c. So 7 less than the product of 5 and c. And then another way to write this, we could say, I know another word that means subtraction is minus. So I could say the product, color. The product of 5 and c minus 7 will be another way to write that. All right. Give two ways to write this expression. I have r plus 5 divided by 3. Let's see, r plus 5 divided by 3. So I know I need to come up with some ways to say add and some ways to say divide. I know one way to say divide is quotient. And add, I could say more. So I could say a number r plus the quotient of 5 and 3. I could also say r more than 5 divided by 3. All right, so these next one says write and solve the expression when q equals 8 and f equals 10. So I'm going to have to write this out as an expression and substitute numbers in. I have 7 more than the product of q and 4, so 7 more, 7 plus. Then the product is multiply, so q times 4. So I have 7 plus, q is 8, 8 times 4. So 7 plus 8 times 4 is 32. 7 plus 32 is 30. So for this problem, you would need all that work to get full credit. Okay, but your answer is 39. Now for this next one, it says 9 less. I know whenever it says less, I put this on the end. So 9 less than the quotient of 96 and q. That's a G. I'm going to Q. All right, so I have 96 divided by 8 minus 9. 96 divided by 8 is 12 minus 9. My answer is 3. And I have 4 lines of work for that one. Next one says 5 friends share the cost of dinner equally. Write an expression for the cost per person. So if you're thinking about this, think about when you go out to dinner. If you are splitting the cost evenly, we don't know what the cost is, right? So let's just call the cost C. Okay. So if you are splitting the cost evenly and there are 5 friends, then our expression would be C divided by 5. Because pretend like the cost was $100. If you wanted to split it evenly, you divide that by 5. So A, we've done that. Now it says make up a total cost and test your expression. Is the result reasonable? So we basically just did that. So let's plug in $100. Let's say that was the price. We'll plug that in for C. Divided by 5. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So each person will pay $20. And I would say yes, that result is reasonable. All right. So that's all I have for you. Go ahead. If you need to watch this again, do that. And good luck on your test tomorrow.